I can't quite contain or explain my evil ways.
We're in the Gravity Falls Forest. It's probably 7 p.m. or something. Didn't you just say the sun was rising? Yeah, as they could already see the sun rising on the horizon. Oh, I bet it's probably supposed to be like 7 a.m. or something. But doesn't the sun dawn at like 6:30? Ah, never mind. It's not important. We don't have time for questions. I just asked a question. We don't have time for questions. The faster we find that dragon, the faster we can get out of here. Dana stopped praying and nodded, which meant she was listening to him. Daniel also nodded. Azaf did as well, but added, "Seems fine, but for your information, wyverns aren't dragons. The difference between them and dragons are that wyverns walk on 2 legs instead of 4, which is common on dragons. That's due to having their hands to be attached to their wings, as dragons have their wings attached on their backs instead," the boy turned tiger explained. Dipper felt a headache coming. So it really is annoying when he corrects other people. Whatever. Let's just find that creature and defeat it. Dipper had started to walk, managing to keep his balance, but stopped and turned to the others. Do you know how to defeat a wyvern? You do know how to defeat a wyvern, don't you? He asked, suddenly worried. If they didn't, how would they defeat the wyvern? Surely a cage wouldn't appear out of thin air, and if it did, it wouldn't be enough to stop the creature. No, the 3 of them answered with blank faces. Dipper could tell by their voice tones they were also worried about what would happen. So we're technically stuck on spelling errors. I'm sorry. So we're technically stuck in these bodies forever? Dana started to freak out. I don't want to eat animals and roll them on! And she could have screamed forever if Daniel hadn't pushed her to the floor, stopping her. What was that for? Can't you see I'm being dramatic here? She stopped screaming to herself to start screaming to her own brother. Emphasizing how angry she was, Dana made sure to show Daniel her pointy teeth, although she looked didn't look as intimidating as Dipper was looking at that moment, as annoyance was consuming his patience. Stop freaking out, Daniel said calmly, trying to make Dana relax. That wasn't really working. Oh, I'm always saying that you're loud, and I'm never exaggerating. You freak out over every little detail. This test is to make us work together. So pull your freaking selves together and move on! His lecture couldn't have worked better. Dana immediately stood up at hearing her brother scream. The last part that had also startled Dipper and Azaf. Dipper thought Daniel was just as irresponsible as his sister, but now the wolf could say he wasn't. Now, can we please move on? I'm getting really creeped out. I think these trees have eyes. They started to walk around the forest and decided that it was better for everyone to stick together like glue. Is Daniel always the opposite of Dana? She looks a bit unstable, Dipper whispered to Azaf. Danielle and Dana were walking in front of them, and the female sibling looked like all she wanted to do was to bite someone's shoulder off. Dipper was about to say something else, but stopped him from doing so. Well, we all have different personalities and flaws. I'm not a specialist, but I can try to explain it to you. Dana is the group's troublemaker. She likes to pull pranks on everyone, that she also panics easily. You can call her the drama queen if you want. She loves being called that. Daniel tries to control his sister, but you can say he's the tamer, because if a prank sounds too absurd or prone to fall, he tries to make up her mind. He also never succeeds, but it's worth a try. He's like his sister's guardian angel and brother at the same time. Asaf stopped talking suddenly, as if trying to think of something about himself. I'm kind of the leader of this group. I try to control them and order them around, but I'm not sure if it really works. Sometimes they listen to me, sometimes they don't. You can say I put order into this suit. Literally. Dipper smiled. It sounds like you have a lot of fun together, the blue-haired wolf said, smiling. He was still surprised with everything that had happened to him lately. He had made a deal with Bill. He had became the demon's apprentice and was now walking as a wolf through the town's forest, chasing a wyvern. That sounded like a fairy tale or a terror tale, and if he told anyone, that person would laugh at him and tell him that this was ridiculous. Then, at thinking about wolves, he looked at himself. He was getting used to walking on all fours. That was why Beatrice and the others had sent them to their first mission on the same day as their animal transformations, to get used to their animal forms while working together to defeat a creature that sounds dangerous and mysterious. Dipper could understand now. What does it feel like being a half-demon like us? Azaf asked all of a sudden. Dipper stopped in his tracks and looked at the white kitten tiger as if he'd gone crazy. Half-demon? Where'd he gotten that idea? Dipper tried to be gentle as he could about the subject. Oh, I'm not a half-demon. I'm human, he explained softly. Azaf narrowed his eyes and shook his head almost in disbelief. No, you can't be. Humans don't have Oh my god! No, you can't be. Sorry, Azaf. No, you can't be. Humans don't have powers that halflings have. Halflings, or demonlings, are half-demons the children of demons and humans. How do you think you are able to transform into an animal? My mentor has said that to me. And if you can levitate and summon items whilst being awake, then you're either a demon or an angel. Believe me, you smell like a demon, so you must be one. Dipper looked at Azaf for a few seconds before closing his eyes shut and concentrating. His mind went blank, and he had only one objective, levitate. So he couldn't feel the floor under him. Soon he couldn't feel the floor under him and opened his eyes. He was levitating Oh my god! You know what this means? He was levitating a few centimeters from the floor. With wide eyes, the boy fell to the floor, impressed, losing all his focus. After all, how could he focus while discovering that? He had learned a new thing that day. He wasn't human. Or wasn't half human. What's the difference? He could be the child of any demon in the underworld. Or a child of an angel. Why did that matter? He wanted to wake up from that dream. He wanted it to be a dream. He wanted to wake up on his bed in the attic and realize he had never made a deal with Bill Cipher and had gone back to his normal life, hunting monsters and playing around with his sister. I know it's confusing, Azaf said, trying to comfort the golden-eyed boy, but we can't always. He bumped into Danielle, who had been standing there for a few minutes staring at something that looked either too scary or impressive. It was a cliff. Daniel and his sister had been staring at the cliff, which meant that it was the end of their track. Daniel analyzed the cliff carefully, as if trying to think of the best way to go to the bottom of it without breaking his neck. That's so high, the fox muttered, impressed. I wonder how much pain someone must feel if he falls from here. Dana could be seen with shining yellow eyes as a big grin to match. There's only one way to find out. Daniel turned to her in worry, almost reading her mind. Have a good landing, and then she pushed him off the cliff. After bumping on a few trees and such, he landed on the floor covered in scratches. So, did it hurt? Dana shouted from the top of the cliff. Daniel felt his rage building. What do you think? He shouted back. Dipper and Azaf could have face-palmed if that was physically possible. Why do I feel that I should have brought earmuffs? Dipper thought as he sighed. However, one loud roar echoed through the forest, making the pine trees shake and the ground tremble. Dipper could recognize the roar from miles away. Guys, we found our target.